How do we know if we're getting the right nutrients or if our meals are adequately balanced? Now let me tell you firsthand as somebody who has studied and practiced in the field of nutrition. It can be confusing and complicated, I get it. But nutrition does not have to be difficult. So in this video, we're gonna simplify it a little bit by exploring a simple yet effective visual tool that helps us ensure that our meals are nutritionally balanced. Now, we have written a comprehensive article on this on the Pickup Lines blog. I'm gonna link it for you down below because there's more information in there than we can delve into in this particular video. And I also wanna make mention before we get started that this technique I'm gonna share with you is just to be used as a guideline, not as a strict rule. Now let's get started. Many countries have unique food plans that have been created by their governments or by nutrition authorities to make sure that their citizens are getting the right kind and amount of different nutrients. Now, each country's food plan is a little bit different, but across the board, the emphasis tends to be the same, which is to focus on making sure you're getting enough fluids, enough fruits and vegetables, enough whole grains, as well as protein, calcium, and fat sources. Now I'm going to share one of those food guides with you today, and it's called the Canada's Food Guide, given that this is where I grew up and this is the particular guide that I learned. In Canada, we have 4 food groups: fruits and vegetables, grain products, milk and alternatives, and meat and alternatives. This list shows what the recommended servings are of each food group based on a person's age and gender. It's an awesome tool, no doubt, but I often had clients asking me, well, do I need to count the amount of these foods I'm eating each day? And realistically, the answer is not necessarily. You're always welcome to record your intake for a couple of days. It really does help to see if there's a certain area in which you might be missing out. But once you know it, then you can make up for it. So the question then often became, well, is there an easier way to make sure that my meals are properly proportioned? And the answer is yes. Here's how. The plate method is a wonderful and effective technique that helps us visualize how to organize those food groups. This plate method outlines the proportion of food groups to include when creating nutritionally balanced meals. Now a heads up, if you want to get a printable copy of this image here that you can post on your fridge, see the link in the description box below. This isn't the first time that a plate method has been used to compose nutritionally balanced meals. I mean, because it's such an effective visual tool, a lot of organizations have begun to adopt this particular method. Now you can see that each of these authorities use the plate method in their own way to make healthful eating something that can be easy. Now let's break it down a little bit more and share some specifics. Now we're using a plate here for demonstrative purposes, but you could easily use a bowl or any other serving dish. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that about half of your serving plate comes from the fruit and or vegetable category for each meal. Now the benefits of this are widely known, of course. These are loaded with vitamins, minerals, fiber, antioxidants. They can help reduce the risk of developing chronic illnesses and so on. So you want to get it in any way that you can. Now the sources of this are, well, any fruits and or vegetables that you enjoy. One thing we do recommend is that you get at least 1 serving each day of a green vegetable and 1 serving each day of an orange vegetable. Now, examples of this can be found in the article that is in the description box below. One pro tip is to use frozen fruits or veggies for quick and nutrition add-ins to meals. We also recommend that you get a little bit more vegetables per day than fruits, if you kind of just keep that in the back of your mind. The general guideline is about 3 to 4 servings of fruits and about 4 to 6 servings of vegetables. Again, no need to count, but if you're generally getting more veggies than fruits each day, you should be good to go. Now, when it comes to grains, we aim for this to take up about 1/4 of the plate. The benefit of grains is that the complex carbs that can be found in them provide a fantastic source of sustained energy and fiber. Sources of this include oatmeal, rice, whole grain bread, wheat tortillas, whole grain pasta, quinoa, barley, millet, buckwheat. I mean, the list goes on. One pro tip that we can give is to aim to have at least half of your grain servings per day come from the whole grain category. So the more whole grains you can include, the better. Moving on to the final 1/4 of the plate, this is plant-based protein sources, and the benefit of this, of course, is protein, which is an essential part to health and nutrition. But the other amazing thing about getting your protein from plant-based sources is that there is the added benefit of fiber, both soluble and insoluble fiber. Essentially, this means it helps to keep us fuller for longer, helps to keep things regular, generally all around good for us. Sources include soy products like tofu, tempeh, and edamame, and other rich sources are things like peas, all beans, all lentils, and most veggie meat replacements. Now, another source of plant-based protein for vegans that's also considered a fat source is any kind of nut or seeds. These are things like hemp seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, almonds, pecans, and all forms of nut and seed butters. Now, one pro tip is to not be afraid of using canned or jarred beans and lentils if this means it's going to help you speed up your meal prep time and make sure you get enough of this essential food group. If you're going to be cooking from scratch and you're in a rush, lentils cook a lot faster than beans do. And when it comes to incorporating more nuts and seeds, that should be easy enough, right? We can sprinkle it on top of salads, add it to oatmeals, into smoothies, or just enjoy it as a snack. Now, we developed something called the 3 pillars so that in addition to the plate, we make sure that we're getting an adequate variety of necessary nutrients that we need for optimal health. Now, if you can't include this into your meal, it's not a problem. You can also include it on the side of your meal or enjoy it as a snack. All right, first up is calcium. This is something that both vegans and non-vegans tend to overlook, and calcium plays such a crucial role in our bone development and maintenance throughout the lifespan, so we want to make sure that we're getting enough. Our recommendation is that you get at least 2 servings of calcium-fortified foods each day, and we do recommend that you get it from food over supplements whenever possible. Food sources include fortified yogurts like soy, almond, rice, or coconut yogurts, or any kind of plant-based milks that are fortified, and this can be included in chai lattes, in smoothies, or in oatmeals in place of water. The second pillar is fats, which is an essential part of a healthy diet because fats play such an integral part in so many functions in the human body. And this is also where we find those essential omega-3 fatty acids. Now, the recommendation here is that we get those healthy fats from whole food sources whenever we can, because again, we get that added benefit of vitamins and minerals and fiber and antioxidants. So oils are also considered a fat source, but we want to use this one in moderation. Vegan sources of fats are things like avocados, all kinds of nuts and seeds, nut butters, olives, and coconuts, such as coconut flakes or coconut milk. The final pillar is supplements. This is one we get questions about all the time, so let's see if we can address it here. Vitamin B12 is one of those vitamins that's very rarely found in plant-based sources, so it is recommended that vegans either obtain it by consuming fortified foods or more commonly that they're taking a vitamin B12 supplement. And vitamin D, it is possible for our bodies to synthesize, but it depends on the time of year and if we are in direct sunlight. But if we're not, then it's also recommended that we supplement with vitamin D, but this applies to everybody, not just vegans. As far as other supplements are concerned, it's generally not required. If you're consuming a well-balanced vegan diet, it should offer all of the nutrition that we need. But if you're concerned or if you have a medical condition and you're unsure, you can always see a doctor or a dietitian to learn more. Okay, so we've learned quite a bit so far in this video, but hopefully it's coming across as being quite simple. Let's take a quick second to recap. We want about half of our plate to come from fruits and vegetables, preferably a little bit more vegetables than fruit. We want about a quarter of our plate to come from grain products, preferably more whole grains when possible. And we want another quarter of our plate to come from plant-based protein sources. On the side, either incorporate it into the meal or enjoy it as a snack, we want to make sure we're getting about 2 servings at least per day of calcium-rich foods. We want to make sure we're getting enough healthy fats, as well as a vitamin B12 supplement and possibly a vitamin D supplement too. Not so bad, right? Now, it's important to note that by developing this plate method and breaking it down, we're not trying to recommend that you meticulously organize your plate in this exact order. In fact, if you were to look through the Pickup Lime's recipes, you'll notice that not all of them necessarily follow this plate method 100% of the time, and that's okay. By following this method most of the time, things tend to balance out. The bottom line is that the plate method is just to be used as a template or a visual tool to help us create balanced meals. Now, if you're looking for more concrete examples of this, see the article in the description box below, where you can also get that downloadable PDF of the plate method that you can then post onto your fridge to use as a guide for either you or your family members to make sure you're getting the proper proportions of different food groups. I know it's something that's really helped me over the years. Now, if you're planning on following this technique, let us know about it. Share it in the comment section below or share it with us on Instagram. It's always a lot of fun watching you guys incorporate these techniques into your healthy habits. All right, before you leave as well, be sure to give the video a thumbs up if you learned something new or if you enjoyed it. It means a lot to us when you do. Thanks a lot for watching. Pickup Limes signing off. We'll see you in the next video.